Hey there, Bread Ideas fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Bread Ideas e-commerce podcast. As always, I am your host, Trent Deersmid, and I am here to help you discover what is working in the world of e-commerce by shining a light on the tools, the tactics, the strategies that are in use by today's leading entrepreneurs and bringing you their stories. So in today's episode, we're going to be talking to Mark, who I will introduce in just a second. Before I get to that, I want to give a shout out to someone who left me a really, really nice review, a fellow by the name of Brooke Craven. So Brooke, thank you so much for the review. He wrote, "Awesome podcast. Trent, host of the Bread Ideas podcast, highlights all aspects of selling, entrepreneurship, and more. And this is a can't miss podcast. The host and expert guests offer insightful advice and information that is helpful to anyone that listens." So I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it anytime a listener takes the time to leave a review, because I know that iTunes kind of makes it a pain in the ass to leave the review. So again, Brooke, thank you so much for leaving that review. And we also get a fairly regular, steady stream of emails from people. And I realized in listening to someone else's podcast today that I have been completely remiss in thanking folks for doing that. So to all of you who've sent me an email in the last month or two or three to express gratitude for the show, I really, really appreciate that. One woman actually, Shayna is her name, and she's from repurposehouse.com. She actually sent me a video. She was so stoked on the interview that I did with Jason recently that she recorded about a 3-minute interview just to say thank you. So I thought that was pretty darn awesome. So with all of that preamble out of the way, let's welcome our guest, Mark Crawford. Mark, thank you so much for making some time to come and be on the show.
Yeah, you got it. Happy to be here.
So Mark, for the people who don't know who you are, let's start with that. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, well, thanks again, Trent, for having me on here. This is awesome. It's great to be able to tell my story, and I'm really excited about entrepreneurship. So this is awesome. Like you said, my name is Mark Crawford. I'm married, been married for coming up on my 12th year anniversary, and I have 3 kids, 9, 7, and 4. We live in Des Moines, Iowa, and lived here the whole time. So the whole time I've been married, lived in Des Moines. So yeah, it started my entrepreneurship story probably like 4 or 5 years ago. So
yeah.
Yep.
And the company you run today is called?
It's called Dream Risk Create, is the parent company, and because we want to dream big, we want to take big risks and create something beautiful. So that's kind of the thing behind that. And then but my flagship software is called HowMany. It's a Chrome extension and mobile app that helps Amazon sellers discover how many their competitors have in stock.
And why is that a big deal?
Why is that a big deal? That's a great question. For me, I started it because I wanted to know how many they had in stock during quarter 4. And
because at the time you were an Amazon seller and you were doing retail arbitrage, right?
Yep. That's right. You found me out. So, but yeah, because I was like, things are moving so fast, and I don't want to have to sell it for cheaper than what I can. If I can sell it for $24 instead of selling it for $18, like let's say 2 people are at $18 and the first person's got 4 in stock and the next person's got 5 in stock, but this thing's selling like stinking 65 a month or whatever a day, during quarter 4, stuff just flies. So I was like, I think there's a better way. So then I started doing the 999 trick and adding it to cart and everything. I'm like, man, this is taking forever. I'm like, there has to be a better way to do this. And I looked and I didn't see anything. So then I developed it, and it's been taking off.
So had you ever developed any software prior to this?
So funny question. Yeah, that's good. That's funny. Funny story. So before this, I was really into I tried to make my hand at SEO. doing the SEO stuff. So I made, I got this piece of software called Ubot. It's a Windows only desktop piece of software, and it helps you create like automation programs. So you can do screen scraping, you can do, you know, CAPTCHAs, all that stuff. So I made a Hotmail account creator. So that was that was my thing. Right? And I probably sold like stinking, I don't know, over 10,000 of those things. You know, I mean, it was ridiculous. So
back in the black hat days.
Back in the black hat days. That's right. That's right.
So in the event that anyone listening to this who's an Amazon seller who doesn't know what HowMany is, it is the only plugin that I'm aware of. Actually, I think you actually have a competitor now, but we've been using it for years. It's a wonderful little tool to instantly see how much inventory the other sellers have. If you're an Amazon seller, you undoubtedly already know that this plugin exists. And so I just wanted to fill in that little gap.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, funny story. Right after I launched it, it took off really big, launched with affiliates, and got off to a really good start because there was nothing else like it, right?
Yeah.
So big deal, right? Holy cow, new insight on Amazon, big deal. And it was so fast. So it was saving people tons of time.
Yeah.
And I saw on Upwork, there's actually a job posted on Upwork that said the guy's exact description was looking for a developer to make a Chrome extension like HowMany. So he's like, make it like this. And he linked right to my extension. So I was
Lovely.
like, good job. Way to not innovate. Good job.
Yeah.
You know? So yeah, we had a lot of copycats, and I'll get into this more, you know, through the interview, but it's like, you know, we've had our ups and our downs, and a lot of the copycats have fallen away because of the downs, and they weren't able to recover.
Yeah. Okay. So let's kind of dive into, and today you have thousands, tens of thousands of users. Like, how much of this thing have you sold?
Yeah, I think if you log onto the Chrome Web Store, you can see it's like over 15,000 users right now are using it. So
okay,
a ton of people.
Okay. So, before you started this, you had done your Hotmail desktop app. You were doing retail arbitrage, which is really the thing that helped you to discover that, hey, you were basically scratching your own niche. So now you realize, okay, there's this problem that I have, and there's no solution in the marketplace that I can find. So I think I'm going to build something. And you know, I'm assuming you don't write code yourself. So what did you do? What were the actions that you took to get the ball rolling?
Yeah, so it was really awesome, like how it all got started. I put a job on Upwork, and I said, this is what I want. And a developer replied to me, and he said, hey, actually, I have a little bit of code that I wrote that might work well with this. And so we should actually be able to get this spun up pretty quick. And I go, okay, cool, let's go. So he had it back to me in like a couple weeks, like the first draft. And it was working, and I was blown away. And then I went to Prosper show when it was in Utah, and I showed Nate McAllister it, and he runs a Facebook group, and he was just like, holy cow, man, this is awesome. So I'm going to tell my Facebook group about this. And then that was really the catalyst that got it to take off.
Nice. So yeah, you'd mentioned earlier that you did affiliates. So your first launch really was just with Nate being your sole affiliate, or had you lined up other affiliates at that point?
No, that was it. He's got a blog and a Facebook group, and it's fairly good size, and he's got fairly good influence over them. So when he recommends something, it takes off. And plus, there was nothing else like it at the time, so it was an easy sell.
Yeah. So you get the first launch under, but actually before we get to that, let me back up a little bit, because I now am co-founder of a software company, and I know how detailed you need to be in your requirements documents when you're creating software. It doesn't sound like you were too terribly detailed. Like, did you do up wireframes, and did you make it what you wanted the interface to look like? Or you basically said, I just wanted to show a inventory level of this part on the Amazon screen and make it do that? Like,
Yep, I said click the button and show me the inventory level on the offer listings page on the screen.
And that's it.
And that was it. Like there was no like little pop-up, like there is now. There was no totaling. There was no estimated sales. There was no, the tool has totally like evolved, right? Yeah, big time. We've totally moved away. I don't even use that developer anymore because he was flaky and good guy, but just flaky.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll get into more of it, like why we had to move away later on, but
okay,
that's it.
So once you had done your first launch, what happened next in your entrepreneur's journey? Was there things that happened as a result? Like, do you remember how many you sold in the first launch?
I don't.
But
I remember thinking like, man, this would be really cool if I reached $5,000 a month.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that, and then I reached that pretty quick. And then I was like, wow. Because I'd never experienced anything like that before, like for monthly reoccurring.
Yeah.
And so now, we've surpassed that and stuff, but it's just like, wow, how small was I thinking, back then?
Yeah.
It's like, there are so many people that need this tool. And it's, so I can't remember the numbers though, Trent. I can't.
Okay.
It was coming up on 4 years ago.
So after that first launch, was there any surprises in the way of support or bugs or things that kind of tripped you up after that initial success?
Oh yeah, big time. Because I had no idea what I was doing. So I had no idea that the developer used like kind of his own API keys from Amazon, because at the time we were using the product advertising API to get the data, and I had no idea even how he was doing that, right? So sure enough, those keys stopped working. Amazon put a kibosh on it because we're having too much traffic flow through these keys, and all of a sudden the tool stops working. And I'm like, dude, what's up? And he's like, oh, I need to make more keys. So then he like makes more keys, and I'm like, I had no idea we needed to do that. Like, and then like the sign up process was buggy, and I was getting duplicate signups, and people were paying twice, and I was having to refund them, and like, oh man, yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. I can't believe I survived. So I just tried to treat people right, though. I tried to treat people how I would want to be treated. So.
Mm-hmm. So how did you navigate your way through the API key issue? Did you eventually, did you just keep cranking out more API keys, or did you figure out a different way to do it?
Yeah, I ended up just cranking out more API keys, figured out a way to automate that. And then, actually I might've used Ubot to create a bot to automate that. I'm not sure though, but anyways, Amazon shut all that down. So, so yeah, we don't even do that anymore. I can't remember all the specifics, but it was nuts because it was growing so fast.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, what in the world? So.
And did you have to, when all that fast growth was happening, was that as a result of word of mouth? So you got this first launch from Nate that gives you a customer base. Were you then lining up other affiliates right away? Is that what fueled the growth?
Yeah. I think I have over 40 affiliates now.
Okay. So in just a moment, we're going to come back. I want to talk to you more about how you generated those affiliate relationships. Before we get into that, a quick message from the sponsor of this episode. This episode is brought to you by Payability. Have you ever found yourself in a situation where you have the right product and the right Amazon strategy, but all you need is more cash to buy inventory? Well, I know that I've been in that situation. I'm pretty much sure everybody else who sells on Amazon has also been in that situation at one point or another. Well, Payability is a financing company on a mission to give e-commerce sellers fast, flexible access to capital. Approval is based on your Amazon account health and your sales performance. So there's no credit checks, and you can get your money in less than 24 hours. If you're tired of banks not taking you seriously because you're a small business selling online and you want to get your inventory into Amazon's fulfillment centers before the competition does, visit brightideas.co/payability or click the link in the description to get a $200 sign-on bonus and discounted fees. Again, that is brightideas.co/payability. All right, Mark, so let's talk about affiliate recruitment, because that's actually something that's going to be happening more for me and my software company going over the next couple of months. So you've got one win under your belt. You've got some traction. You had some speed bumps and potholes along the way. How did you go about recruiting more affiliates?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I set up an affiliate portal. I use software. What I use for my billing is called ChargeBee.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I use for all like my back end billing and checkouts and all that stuff. They do a great job. Been really happy with them. And then they integrate with a couple of companies, and the one I chose was called Refersion.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not super pleased with them, but it's just like what I started with, and definitely had some bumps in the road with them big time. Like their stuff wasn't working right with ChargeBee, and I was like thinking about dropping them and going with like Dymo leads or something, or I don't know, some other affiliate software that integrated with ChargeBee. But then they got their ducks in a row, and it's been working well. So, but in order for me to like get new affiliates, honestly, like I opened it up. So I put a help document on my help desk about my affiliate program and how to sign up, and put the link on there so they can just sign up. And I don't really see right now any downside to limiting affiliates. I know some people do, which is great. I mean, it's their business. They can do what they want. I haven't really seen that. So I have people from all different ends of the spectrum, people that don't even speak my language, that write me in different languages. But then once they know that I speak English, then they write me in English. So, but it's great. And they're really nice. And they're helping large groups of Amazon sellers. And I'm like, well, this is great, So it's been mainly word of mouth, but I did reach out to a few big influencers that had impacted me when I was going on through my journey. And I reached out to them and I said, hey, I've got this tool, because it's kind of cool and it's kind of weird. So in the Amazon community, in the Amazon seller community, I feel like you have like a bunch of different like segments, right, of groups. And you can do really well in a certain group. So like the initial launch with Nate was awesome. And then he knows so many people, right? So then you kind of, but then you kind of stop and you kind of get this thing like this big. So, but then I wanted to go to another segment, kind of like another planet, and I wanted to like build onto that too. So then, because like a lot of these people, I was reaching out to them and I was like, well, have you heard about this? And they're like, no. And I'm like, wow, that's crazy, because it seems like it's all the rage over here, right? So I was like, well, here's a free trial, check it out. Let me know what you think. And they're like, cool, I love it, let's go. I'm like, all right, right on. And some of those people are like my best affiliates that I reached out to personally. And I mean,
and that was just cold outreach. You just crafted a short email saying, this is my thing, this is what it does.
I think I might have reached out to them on a messenger.
Okay.
Yeah. And if that didn't work, then I reached out to them on email. But I've had pretty good luck with Messenger, reaching out to other influencers in the Amazon community and just developing relationships with them, and it's fun to talk shop and, help each other out and all that stuff. So.
Yeah, that's why I have a podcast, because I like talking shop.
That's right. That's why I'm on here, because I like talking shop.
Absolutely. All right. So you continued to grow your affiliate base by reaching out to some influencers, by putting some stuff on your help desk so that other people who maybe weren't on your radar screen could come and realize that you had an affiliate program. Your base of affiliates grew. Did you go through and plan product launches? Oh, your camera just turned off. Did you go through and plan? plan product launches with the influencers only, and then you would just let the other folks just sort of promote to their list whenever the heck they wanted with no coordination from you? Or what did it look like?
Yeah, so it kind of worked out two different ways. So some people just wanted like the affiliate commission, which is cool, right? So I let them sign up and then they do the affiliate commission. Actually three different ways. Some people wanted the affiliate commission and a coupon code for their list.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would do that for them, but it would be a reduced coupon code because they were still getting their affiliate commission. And then some people, they might have like a paid group and they're just like, you know what? I just want our group to get the absolute best price. I don't care about the affiliate commission. I don't care about any of that stuff. And I was like, holy cow, there's people out there like this. This is awesome. And so I would just give them like a sweet coupon code because I'd give them like the affiliate commission plus another another 10% or something. And those people, that's like the highest coupon redemption I think I've got too, because it's just awesome.
Okay. So what were some of these? So now you've got the ball rolling pretty well. You've got fast growth, but with fast growth always comes unexpected challenges, potholes, scars. Tell me about some of the real difficult periods and how you managed to navigate your way through them.
Oh man. One of the most painful parts, so painful. Probably one of the most painful times of my life, I would say. Probably second most, maybe. It's up there. Anyways, that doesn't matter. It was over Christmas. So 2 Christmases ago. And things are chugging along. Here comes, we're like 4 days away from Christmas, something like that. And the hot of Q4 is cranking, right?
Mm-hmm.
Amazon decides to shut it all down. And they turn off the product advertising and they limit it to 10. So Keepa at the time was doing some stock stuff, but not really that well. Boom, they're limited to 10. Everybody's limited to 10. And I'm just like, what is going on?
Meaning showing 10 units of inventory? Is that what you mean by limited to 10?
Yep. Okay. So anything 10 and under, right? So if it was 11, it would show 10,
Yeah.
So it's down, right? And at the time, all I had was my flaky developer guy because things are just chugging along, no problems. So all I had was this flaky developer guy that didn't even want to work. And actually, I had started another relationship with another development firm out in California. And they had all these grandiose ideas about how to make it better and more stability and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, cool, let's go. It goes down. They can't help me. I'm like, dude, I need this up. And they're like, well, my other guy's getting married and I've got this other thing going on. I'm like, dude, you don't understand. I'm down. Like this needs to get fixed now. Like, here's ways to do it. Let's do it, and they couldn't make it happen. Every time we would turn it on and get traffic to it, it would blow the servers up. Like they had no clue on how to do anything. So then through that process, I found a guy on Upwork actually, and he was super expensive. And I was just like, I don't care. I need to get this fixed. And so I reached out to him and he gave me this idea and I go, okay, cool. But I think we're going to go another way. So then I stayed with my guy out in California. I mean, it's so bad. I'm like in my Christmas Eve service slacking with my developers on this, like at church. Like it was so bad. So bad. And people are pissed, I mean, which makes sense, right? I'd be pissed too. And, but then, it was down for like over a month, I think.
Oh.
And I mean, it was so painful. I mean, I'm like refunding, extending people's billings out. So giving all this free time away.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly thought it was the end of the end. I'm just like, I don't know how I'm going to recover from this, but thank God these people stuck with me and saw that, hey, this guy's trying. He's giving me my free time, he's refunding me and all this stuff. So, and we got back up. But you know what? And we're back up and we're better for it. And because I found an awesome development firm to work with, and I've been working with them ever since. And we've had some hiccups along the way. Even actually last Christmas, I like to now call it the Amazon Christmas surprise, because now it seems like every time around Christmas time, Amazon does something weird with their systems. And so Amazon threw another hiccup last Christmas, and we were only down for like 16 hours maybe versus a month. So it's like, holy cow, way better, you know?
Yeah.
And everybody was down, right? I mean, everybody that does this process, I mean, it affects everybody. It's not just us. So,
yeah. How did you find the development firm?
So I found him through Upwork.
Okay.
I've been working with him for over a year now.
And so they're an overseas firm, I'm assuming.
Nope. I said, forget it with overseas firms. Going local. They're in Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So
Yep.
did it actually turn out to be more expensive, or did they develop so much faster that it's not more expensive?
I think it's not as expensive because we're able to, because you don't have the onboarding time of new developers, like, because I was in a cycle of trying to find somebody new, like, you know, every 3 months, and it's just like you give them the code and they're like, I don't know what to do with this. This is a mess, you know, and all this stuff. So it's like now when we want to develop new features and fix these bugs or do this or that, I mean, they're like, yeah, I know this. Let's go. You know, it's like no big deal. So yeah, it is a lot more efficient. But now I'm working on a retainer with him. So I mean, they're full time, right? So because I mean, that's what I need at this stage. I'm done trying to, you know, use HostGator and all this stuff. You know, all the cheap stuff. Like we're like back in the day, right? I mean, back in the day, it was like I was trying to go in as cheap as I could because I was like minimal viable product. Let's just validate it, right? And then it just like took off and everything broke, and I'm like, crap. Yeah. Well, now I need to plan for that. So I had to get people that are smarter than me.
Yeah, I was very lucky in that department because my co-founder, who's a very good friend of mine, you know, for 10 years, had already built and sold a software company, and so he really knew how to deal with scale and code documentation and the proper ways to manage code and versions and repositories and all the things that I don't know anything about. So all I've had to do is have a hand in developing the product, and we were able to bring our product to market for far, far, far less than I expected that we would have, and that's been a good thing. So earlier in our interview, you mentioned the guy who put the ad on Upwork and said, "Yeah, but just make me something that does this HowMany thing here." We'll call him a knockoff. I'm assuming that happened more than one time.
Yeah.
So why didn't they put a dent in your business?
I don't know. I mean, maybe some of them did, but it seemed like people were always coming back because these people would launch for like one person launched for free. You know, they're just like, oh, we'll just do it for free. And I'm just like, I don't know how you can do it for free. I mean, it's like, unless you got some other game plan in the background, you know, that you're doing, but it's like, there's like fixed costs to this stuff. Right. So, but then, you know, they'd get their first hiccup and then it wouldn't work anymore. And then people are like, well, I need a solution that works. And I'm like, well, here we are.
Yeah.
So
just the fact that you've been around longer and you've got brand reputation has really been your ace in the hole, as it were.
I think so. Yeah. I mean, we're the first ones.
Yeah.
So, and we've continued to innovate. Like it's not just like, cause now we're the first ones to do, to see past seller limits and to see reserved inventory and, inventory that's in transfer status. You know, nobody else is doing that. So
let's talk about some of those new features. First of all, rattle off, say 2 or 3 of the biggest ones that you've developed or you're developing.
Yeah. So We had the variation viewer, which was cool. That was the first of its kind. There's been lots of knockoffs since then, which is really good for like shoes. And we were the first ones to do the review. Maybe not the first ones, but one of the first ones to do to try to gauge popularity of a child variation by the reviews. So we could see what reviews apply to what variation. We were able to break that down in an Excel table for them online, and then show like the stock. And then for Amazon to Amazon flips, we developed a feature that, you know, showed the current price with their stock and then the next price with their stock. So then you can be like, oh, cool, you know, this person's like at $20, but the next person's at $40. Well, I'm going to buy all these $20 and just sell it at $40. So real easy that way. But the newest features that I'm really excited about was, we call it the Limit Buster, and that's the one that allows you to see past 999. So we stop at 3,000. When we get to 3,000, we just stop because it takes long to find the number, and the higher we go, the longer it takes. And we're just like, you know what? If there's 3,000 items, like, are you really going to mess with it? You know?
Yeah.
I mean, as a seller. So we're able to see past the 999, able to see past seller limits. So, you know, if a seller puts 27 limit, Amazon does it a lot. We can see their true inventory. And also, like, especially around Q4, is to see the transfer status. Because a lot of times Amazon will be transferring stuff to warehouse, and then it'll show, oh, they only have 3 in stock, but actually they have 500 that are being transferred to California from
wherever,
Tennessee, you know, or whatever. Yeah. So, but while they're in transfer status, a lot of times Amazon won't show that. They won't show the real number because it's not available. Because it's not available, and Amazon doesn't know for sure when it will be available. But we're able to see that number on FBA items that are in new condition only. So.
And how do you get your ideas for more features? Do you run a community with your users and they're submitting ideas, or are you thinking this stuff up in a vacuum?
Thinking it up. Well, I get support tickets with new ideas every now and then, and I really appreciate those. That actually drove the API idea that we developed, the API feature. So, so I got a request saying, hey, because we were getting hundreds of thousands of requests from certain IPs, and we're like, what is going on? Is there like a click farm going on out in California? Like, what is going on out here, this IP address? And it was actually like making the service bad for other people because there's so much activity. So we like had to do something about that, which we never had to do that before. So now we're like, hey, but they're like, well, we want to get all this information. I'm like, well, can I just build an API for you? So then you can just get it. And they're like, yeah, that'd be great. So, and then like I brought that out to my customer list, and they're like, oh, sweet. Yeah, I want that too. And I want this. So now we have a lot of other bigger companies, like brand reputation companies and those kind of people that monitor hundreds of, I don't know about hundreds of thousands, but tens of thousands of ASINs for their customers. And now they can get stock quantity reports on those, you know, right into their program. So it just feeds right in. So
and that's a perfect example of the phrase that I like, is the best way to succeed in business is to be in business. Had you not ever started this thing, would you have ever in a million years known that there were companies who were willing to pay money to get daily reports on inventory levels of tens of thousands of SKUs on Amazon?
Right.
Like, how would that ever get onto your radar screen as a thing?
No way. It's so niche. It's so niche. We're in a very, very small niche that solves a very, very specific problem.
Yep.
And it's been awesome. It's been a huge blessing for my family.
Yeah, no question. So the companies that we're just talking about that are paying the power users, are they a meaningful slice of your gross revenue, or are they just like 2 or 3% of gross revenue?
Yeah, not yet. We're still fortifying our API.
Yeah.
So I haven't really, I mean, I would still consider it still in beta. There's a decent amount of users on it, and I actually just in partnering with some other software companies that report stock limits, but they can't get they don't have the limit buster capabilities. So they're going to send me, so now we're working together, and they're going to send me, the ASIN and merchant ID, and then I'm going to be able to get them their information. So.
Got it. Okay. So suffice to say, there has been all sorts of opportunities come your way that never would have even hit your radar screen had you not began your journey down this path.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Because, just real quick, another problem, another itch that I was scratching was the free Amazon repricer. And so this is something else that I'm coming out with, but it's not even out yet, but I'm using it myself because I wanted it. So I had it built, and it's been working awesome. So I'm not paying $300 or whatever, $1,500 a month for a repricer anymore. I'm using Amazon's free repricer, and I'm able to reprice like 300 SKUs in 5 minutes. And it ties right into Amazon's free repricer. It doesn't actually reprice anything. It just prepares the min and max. So it's just another example of pretty much what I did with HowMany.
Yeah.
Scratching my own itch. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's how I created Flowster. I was scratching my own itch.
That's right. That's awesome.
And on that note, my computer sent me the little chime telling me that my next call is coming up. So we will have to end our conversation here, Mark. So thank you so much for making some time and coming to be on the show. It was a pleasure to have you here. For folks who are listening, if they want to get your, and we didn't talk about this in the pre-interview, but if you could give me like a coupon code or something, and I'll put it up under, we'll come up with a URL and I'll put it in the show notes. So if you want to get me something afterwards, that way anyone who's listening to this episode who wants to sign up, there will be a way for you in the show notes to do that. And the episode, so the show notes for this episode will be at brightideas.co/278.